You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome to the NFL season. It gets going tonight.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. All down. Going to be covering that coming up here. Going to be talking about the Miami Heat. Add another piece to the roster.
Okay.
The 2018-19 season. We'll also let you know where the Dolphins stand in the best and worst offense and defenses in the NFL. And going to be talking to the play-by-play guy from Florida State, Gene Deckerhoff, and the allegations Willie Taggart has against Virginia Tech of them flopping in the game. What's Gene's take on that? And is he going to go soft on Willie Taggart and some of his coaching decisions that he made? Could Coach Taggart have actually lost that game for the Seminoles the other night against Virginia Tech? We'll get to all that coming up here on Kevin's Other Show today.
A lot of good stuff, man. I'm excited for the show.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Let's
Good
go.
stuff, man. You got NFL action going to begin tonight. As you got the Falcons going up against the reigning champs, the Eagles. Going to be kicking off tonight. I don't know how much you want to read into week one. I know some people are not real high on Nick Foles, thinking that, okay, maybe that was just a flash in the pan and he didn't look good in the preseason. So what do you expect out of them?
I don't know, man. I don't think that's fair. I mean, first off, thank God, like we're here. It's football. The NFL is back tonight. College football is ready in full swing. There's more great games this weekend in college football. So this is beautiful. It's the best time of the year. It really is. So if you look at something like this tonight, I think really people are being unfair to Nick Foles. I mean, a guy that's on our network, Doug Gottlieb, had Foles as the worst quarterback in the NFL. I mean, did he forget that Nathan Peterman is a starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here, Gottlieb? Like, Foles was Super Bowl MVP. I mean, he can't be that bad, right?
I don't know what this guy's got to do.
Right.
But, yeah, he's got kind of a bad rap going into this game. And I don't know, when you start the season on a Thursday night, is this a major disadvantage? And I know that teams don't like the Thursday night game.
Oh, they hate him.
Because when you play the week before, you got a short week. It just throws everything off. And I wonder when you start out a season, what a disadvantage this game is. Because when you come out of the preseason, how much of your real offense have you installed? You know, I mean, just even watching Hard Knocks, and as they're cutting all these players, the big thing is you're getting cut, bring in that playbook right now.
Right.
I don't know what keeps these guys from copying it or whatever, but how much of that are they really going to show? Because, you know, even you talk about the Dolphins, who've got Luke Falk, who they just got from the Titans, who they play in week one. I mean, if that's the case, why wouldn't you always, if you were an NFL team, look to grab a couple of the dudes that are shed on cut day to pick them up and say, hey, man, start giving us a little bit of introspective look. So if you are an NFL franchise, how deep into your playbook can you go, and how many looks do you want to give teams in your NFL preseason games and then start on a Thursday night? So how much is the Eagles or Falcons being able to really work on the true offense they want to do? And are they saying, we've got maybe half of our offense truly installed because we don't want to tip our cap to either one, teams in the preseason who got us on film, or the guys we're going to cut who are going to get picked up by our opponents in week one and put us at a major disadvantage?
I think for these two teams, I think you could say that for a lot of teams in the NFL because there's so much upheaval and change every year with coordinators and head coaches.
Yeah.
But at least for the Eagles and Falcons, I feel like they pretty much know who they are because, I mean, you know, essentially all the coaching staff return for both teams. You have the same starting quarterbacks with Foles and with Matt Ryan. You know, Julio Jones is still there. You know, they're going to throw to him and they're going to hand off to Freeman. So I think they kind of know where they're at. So in that aspect,
there's not a disadvantage by playing Thursday night.
It depends on the team.
Week one.
Yeah, it depends on the team. For these two teams, I think they're fine. But, I mean, overall, playing on Thursday night, I think is a horrible disadvantage overall when it comes to the actual season because you have that, you know, short week coming off your Sunday game. Week one, I think you're good.
So this is your best. If you got to get a Thursday night game, The world champs are happy they go week 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. Because now you actually have a little bit of a longer break, right? Because now they don't play again until next Sunday, which I don't even know what day that is. What is that, the 16th, I guess?
Yeah.
So now they actually have a little bit of a longer break, whereas normally you would be coming off, playing that Sunday and a quick turnaround to Thursday. It's amazing to me how they actually get away with Thursday night games every year. I don't know how they do it.
Well, I think it's still the NFL wants them so badly.
They do.
Because you get to get some TV on and you get to, make that money up. And just for whatever reason, the NFLPA hasn't pushed back hard enough on it yet.
And, I mean, there's just so much money. I mean, look at all the money that Fox invested in Thursday Night Football now to carry Thursday Night Football, take away from CBS.
Sure.
I mean, they're
Big moneymaker. I mean,
It
you got no
is.
competition, really. You might have a lowbrow college game, but that's really about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. You might have, Toledo against Marshall or something on a Thursday night. So
Even though the NFL kicks off tonight, the top story that you're seeing everybody's talking about is the Steelers and Le'Veon Bell. And what this means, and it's an interesting commentary about players trying to do what's best for them.
I didn't see this story anywhere. What are you talking about?
I'm a Steelers guy, and man, yesterday when it was going down, I just really couldn't believe how they were blasting him, and it was coming from his offensive line. Marquise Pouncey was saying,
Yeah.
look, if you don't want to be here, it's what it is. Hold out 10 weeks. That's cool. Whatever. We're fine. Some other players are being a little bit more blunt, saying he effed us.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. My goodness
They
gracious.
were pulling no punches on that. I mean, that's how you start off. And these guys that are blocking for you, and they said, look, some of his offensive linemen were saying, look, we make half of what you do, dude. We're under the same circumstances, man. Our body takes a beating, and we're trying to make money for our family. Here you are holding out for whatever this deal is. And, the big question for me, trying to understand these contracts, and they're very complex. Le'Veon Bell arguably is, if not the best, one of the best running backs in the NFL, and
Sure.
not just because of his running ability, but because of his pass catching out of the backfield. That makes him very valuable. So arguably, yeah, he's one of the best, and he should be paid as one of the best. Todd Gurley now the top paid running back in the NFL.
Right.
And so, yeah, Le'Veon Bell, you would think, would want that. Now, he walked away from a lucrative $70 million deal and said, no, not going to happen. Now, this is just where, and if I'm a teammate of his for the Steelers and you're saying, look, we got to be a brotherhood. If we're going to win, it's got to be about us bonding together. Yeah, sure, we play for money. I get it. But, I mean, if we're going to take the beating, you got to play for a little bit more than that. You got to gel. You got to have that going on. You got to feel like we got each other's back. And from what I understand, it seems like Le'Veon Bell was holding out nickeling and diming. And I get that he's looking for a longer-term deal, but did he not walk away from a longer-term deal? The $70 million deal was a multiple-year deal that should have been the payday that seemed to be fair. And as an NFL franchise, you want and you try to get into deals that are fair. That's ultimately how you win. And it's best for your entire franchise because then you can get better players. You're a better NFL team. You're not top heavy and overpaying somebody. So that's ultimately what you want. The Steelers are one of those franchises. I would arguably say they're one of the top 3, if not top 5, smartest franchises in the NFL. They rarely seem to be in a situation where they overpay. And they seem to be one of those franchises that they will cut you, and you will see what happens to a player when the Steelers cut them. They usually don't pick up with another team and have a great rest of their career.
It's true.
They've pretty much, look at Martavis Bryant. That's just the latest example.
And he was cut by the team that picked him up.
Yeah.
Who was that, the Raiders, I think?
Yeah,
They cut
because
him.
of the drug issues, and they're not going to play around with it. So, when the Steelers seem to offer you a deal, they seem to be fair. And they seem to say, look, we're going to pay you what this deal is. So when you're looking at this deal, Diener, are you seeing, is Le'Veon Bell being a little bitch, or is he right for holding out the way that he is? Because it seems like the people on his team who understand the mathematics of this a little bit more think that he's being a little bitch.
Yeah, it's tough not to say that because, look, first of all, the deal that reportedly was offered back, late July or so was that he turned down a 5-year, $70 million deal.
Long term, lots of money.
That's right. Would have paid him $14 million a year.
Okay.
Now, Todd Gurley's deal was 4 years, $60 million, which is paying him $15 million a year. So I'm not sure how that played into his decision, and quite honestly, I don't really remember.
I think Gurley came after.
I think it was after,
Yeah.
right? So I was trying to remember that.
But he
still,
probably had an idea.
He had an idea.
His agent, I'm sure, is
Agents,
plugged in, and conversation
yes.
happens and says, look, Gurley's about to sign a $15 million deal. So he's looking at $14 million for that. So he sees, okay, I'm going to be paid $1 million less a year than somebody that I think that I'm equal with at least, if not better, because of my pass catching ability out of the backfield.
Yeah.
His franchise tag's for $14.5 million, which still puts him $500,000 less. And this is what it looks like he's going to walk away from. And if he doesn't show up in week 1, why would he show up anytime between now and week 11, which he's got to be and sign it by week 11 if he wants to become a free agent next year and get a bigger deal?
I don't know how the Steelers even have him play on the team anymore if and when he doesn't show up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, how do you show your face in the locker room when these guys are saying what they're saying before week 1? I mean, they have given up on you. You have shown them that essentially you turned your back on the team because you put yourself before your teammates and, like you said, that brotherhood. Now, look, I'm all for these guys getting paid when they can because the shelf life is not very long.
Sure, I don't think anybody
for NFL
argues
players
that.
or running backs, so I get that. But you also can't screw over your entire team. I mean, so you have to kind of walk the line there.
So if we were talking to Le'Veon Bell right now and he was saying, look, I want a deal where I'm getting $15 million a year. I at least want to get what Todd Gurley's getting. They're offering me a long-term deal, which I wanted, but at $1 million less a year. My franchise tag right now, I don't want to be franchise tag. That's a 1-year, one-and-done kind of thing. It's not the long-term I want. $14.5 million. And this is, again, another year that they franchise tagged him.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, if he shows up week 11, if you're the Steelers, if James Conner has been playing well, who's going to be filling in for Le'Veon Bell, do you all of a sudden put him on the bench and put Le'Veon Bell in? Or you just say, you know what, dude, why don't you ride out for the next 5 weeks, you go become a free agent and then do what you got to do?
No, I think he's done. I mean, if Tomlin has his right mind about him, and again, if he actually doesn't play until week 10, we'll see where the Steelers are at that point. But if Tomlin has the right mind, I wouldn't play him. Why would you play the guy at that point?
What would you say is a better chance of? Le'Veon Bell comes back and becomes a successful Steeler, or he's played his last down in a Steelers uniform?
Oh, yeah, I think he's done.
He's no longer, forget about it.
Yeah, the bridges have been burned. When you do something like this,
yeah.
the bridges, you torch those things, they fall into the water, and you are left on the other side while your teammates are on the other side of the cliff. He's done.
Seems that way. James
think
Conner
so.
it is then.
That's it.
We'll see how he does.
The Terminator.
He's got to play against a surprisingly good defense, too. And the Browns, man, I don't know if that was all preseason hype, but they've got a couple dudes on that defensive line with Myles Garrett in there. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so we'll see what that means for the Steelers.
Yeah, the
Gosh,
Steelers are
could
going to
you-
win. Don't worry.
No, I don't know, man.
Come
Can you
on.
imagine the Browns came out and beat the Steelers week
That
1?
would be insane.
Wow, that's crazy stuff. I guess it could happen. Coming up here in a couple minutes, do you want to hang any of this loss on Willie Taggart, Florida State? You know, I don't know, man. I can't believe that he ran that play when it looked like they'd scored a touchdown. I'd like to get an explanation for that. Gene Deckerhoff, that does the play-by-play for the Seminoles, he's talked to Willie Taggart. He's got his answer as to why he rushed out there, why he ran that play. Willie Taggart is accusing Virginia Tech of flopping. What does Taggart say about that, and why does he believe that? We'll talk with Gene coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Well, I would say that Florida State fans probably did not hear the fight song enough
You got to
in
play
their first game. 24-3, final score to Virginia Tech. Gene Deckerhoff, you know him as the voice, Florida State Seminoles. He joins us right now to talk a little bit about what happened with Virginia Tech and moving forward, what it means for the season. Welcome, Gene.
Hey, fellas. Yeah, I'm glad it's a short week. I'm ready to see some football, and score some points. Let's get it going. I recorded Coach Taggart's pre-game show today, and the first thing I said, Coach, I bet you're glad this is a short week. He said, I really am.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how we shape up against Samford. Should beat Samford. I mean, FCS school, although they are predicted to win their conference this year, the Southern Conference. Mm-hmm. But Florida State's got too much talent. We're playing at home, and we got a bad taste of them out, fellas. And somebody's going to have to pay, and I would think it would be the Bulldogs.
I kind of feel bad for them, to be honest with you. I mean, this is the wrong week to face Florida State after it's go easy on them, Gene. Go easy on them.
Yeah.
What does this loss mean, do you think, for the season? I mean, what is this sending to the team? Because some of the conversations I hear is that, you look back to the Florida State team last year that had some adversity they had to overcome, and they didn't seem like they dealt with it the best. And I don't know if you pin that on Jimbo Fisher or the leaders in the locker room, but where is this team now after this loss compared to where they were last year after a couple losses?
Yeah, midway through the season, we were floundering last year. We were a team that really had lost an identity. I'm reading between the lines here, and there's been some comments made that maybe the team sort of got disgruntled at each other, offense, defense, special teams, for whatever. But that happens, and when you lose, it happens very quickly. And obviously, losing DeAndre Francois and the loss to Alabama, coming back with an 18-year-old freshman never taken a snap at a college football game, losing a heartbreaker to North Carolina State, starting 0-3 and just struggling. The team never quite got it together last year, and I think you may have seen just a tad of that, but I don't think it's going to last the season like it did last year. I think the bright lights, the Monday night, the build up to the game, the build up to the new staff, and all of a sudden you read this stuff, and hey, we're just going to go out there and we're going to beat Virginia Tech. They don't even need to show up, And it doesn't happen that way. Tech played a great game. Take nothing away from, I'll tell you what, Justin Fuente and Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator, the players that played that game. They played a marvelous football game against adversity. They're playing in the heat and the humidity. A lot of guys cramped up in that ball game. I think they cramped up because they took a lot of timeouts. But they played on a wet field. A rainy day. It rained during the game. And they came in there and just stuck it to the Seminoles and beat us. Now, what Coach Taggart points out, and I had thought about this, but in 2014, Virginia Tech, different Virginia Tech team, obviously, 4 or 5 years ago, goes into the Big Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio, and spanks Ohio State.
Yeah.
Beat them. Mm-hmm. And the people, 90,000 Ohio State fans wearing red and crimson and silver walking out of the stadium said, man, we're awful.
I would tell you the one thing.
And they won the national championship.
Right. Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
That would be the thing to look at. Yeah, that 2014 Buckeye team. And the one thing I would tell you, when you play Virginia Tech early, facing a Bud Foster defense, and what they did to Ohio State back in 2014, they threw that bear defense at them. And the Buckeyes had watched 3 years of tape on Virginia Tech and hadn't seen this defense at all. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes Bud Foster and throws something at them that they were not anticipating at all. And that is what Bud Foster does to you. So, you do have to give the Noles some understanding that you don't want to face Virginia Tech in the first couple games of the year.
No,
it is nasty.
He had all preseason, all spring, off-season conditioning to put together a game plan, and it certainly worked. They made adjustments to the defensive line. It confused our offensive line. You know who you're supposed to block. All of a sudden they make a shift, and then who am I supposed to block? And so it results in missed blocking assignment, and all of a sudden your quarterback's getting run out of the backfield. You're throwing on the run. You can't get the running game going. The first half, FSU played toe-to-toe. You take the block punt away, it's a 10-3 ball game at halftime, and you're playing at home. You got a chance, to put something together in the second half. But the block punt really hurts. There's a percentage in the NFL when you're doing my colleague Dave Moore that I broadcast Buccaneers games, but says if you get a punt block or a kick blocked and scored, return for a score, you get about a 70% chance of losing that football game, and that probably holds true in the college game.
I believe it.
In the second half, fellas, Florida State's offense could not get a first. We lost first down. I did some work, and I was talking to Coach Taggart, and I said, Coach, we were minus. Here's our first 4 possessions of the second half on first down: -5, -3, -2, a sack, and then 0. And if you don't win first down against a good football team like Tech, it's tough winning third down, let alone scoring touchdowns, and that's exactly what happens. So it's a football game. We lost. Go ahead, take a deep breath, and take it out on somebody. We got a lot of football left ahead of us.
Talking to
hey fellas, we got a lot of stuff riding on this thing. We've been to 36 consecutive bowls. We've had winning seasons for 41 consecutive years. One season short of what Notre Dame set back in the 1800s to 1932.
Yeah.
So there's a lot riding on, and this new coaching staff.
Hey, Gene, let me ask you here, Gene. You're talking a little bit about the blocked punt and that happens and how that is a momentum changer. I want to ask you about there was one part in this game where Florida State, they get something going on. They have that what I thought was a touchdown. It looked like a win in, and then they rush out. They get the offense, and they get the penalty against them. It just seemed like if there was a moment where the game really changed, to me, that was one I identified. When you talk to Coach Willie Taggart, what did he have to say about that play, and how monumental was that play and that decision to rush the team out there and get that penalty was in this game?
Well, we're down 10-0. Nyquan Murray made a great move, and he beat the guy when he made the catch, then outran everybody until he got to the 1 yard line. And I called it a touchdown. I watched the video, the ESPN.
It was.
Chris Fowler called it a touchdown, and they continued to talk about it the rest of the half. But I asked Coach Taggart about that. I said, why didn't they review that? And Coach Taggart told me the official on the sideline told him they were reviewing the play. We line up to the line of scrimmage to snap the ball and punch it in. We got them on the heels, and the center judge would not let our center snap the ball because he said the play was being reviewed. So therefore, you got you big old ugly guys, those buffet guys, leaning over in a 3-point stand, ready to snap the ball. And
well, why were they trying to?
Judge won't let you snap it.
Why are they trying to snap it? I would think you would want to wait there and try to get the review because I think the review is favorable for you if you're Willie Taggart.
Yeah, according to Coach, he was told they were reviewing the play.
Okay, then to me, I would be like, okay, let's not snap the ball. If nothing else, you take a timeout and you wait and let it happen.
Well, we did not do that, and as a result, we did not punch it in. We settled for a field goal, and that was that play, one of 3 plays in the game that really sort of tells the tale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the loss is one, dropping a guaranteed touchdown catch in the end zone. I thought it was a touchdown. And Chris Fowler called it a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it's Keith Gavin dropped the ball, okay? He couldn't have thrown the ball any better than what DeAndre Francois does. So that would have made it 10-7. Okay?
Yeah.
It's the next play, all of a sudden, you don't get the touchdown on Nyquan's brilliant run after the catch. That stuff happens in football. So it's, we're 0-1. We got 11 more games to go, plus a bowl game.
True.
Who knows?
Tell me this. We're talking with Gene Deckerhoff here, the play-by-play guy for the Florida State Seminoles. And tell me about what the story was that came out last night with Coach Taggart talking a little bit about Virginia Tech slowing down and faking some injuries to slow down the Seminoles' tempo. Did the coach have anything to say more on that today, and how critical was that in the game tempo?
I don't remember. I've read the transcript. I've read the newspaper articles of the press conference, but it certainly didn't help the speed, the tempo that we want to run with players cramping up. But you got to, that happens in football, particularly in games in September. So I'm not saying that they were doing it on purpose. But then there are some fans that have put out, if you read tweets and things like that, and I do, but fans thought that they saw a player, look to the sideline.
Yeah, right. I saw that play. So it looked very suspect.
I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm sure that Coach Taggart was looking at his game plan and saying, what player we're going to run next.
Yeah.
Not watching to see if the guy's flopping out there on the field, But and for me, I saw the guys go down, but I couldn't tell if it was communication with them. But that just goes. It goes with the game. Let's face it. Virginia Tech had a game plan that was
they did
win a football game, and they did.
Yeah.
We just whether they were flopping and faking injuries, you can't go back and replay the ball game. So let's get ready, and the next time we play.
Do you think that Willie Taggart has got the right roster in place to run his Gulf Coast system, or are we going to need to see a couple more years of recruiting? I mean, what if you're a Knowles fan, what are you looking at this year?
FSU has the talent. We've got the talent. I mean, the cupboard was not there, and Willie told fans on his spring tour, hey, look, in fact, down in Palm Beach, we had a couple of nice functions down in Palm Beach.
Did.
A great couple of functions down in Palm Beach County. But what he said, I got 2 quarterbacks with starting experience. I got 2 running backs with starting experience. He says, I've never began as a head coach with as many talented players as I've got, and he did a heck of a job recruiting. So I'll tell you about Jaden Woodby. Speaking about recruits, he played almost every snap. So he separated his shoulder. I hope he can play against.
He's quite a player, yeah.
Weekend, but he's number 20, and he was all over the football field.
Yeah.
Nasruddin had a great game. He's a safety, big old 6'4" safety. He had 11 tackles in that ball game. Jaden Woodby had 9. Linebackers didn't have as many tackles they probably should, and a couple of those run plays that Virginia Tech got really, really rich on in the first half, but we tightened it up in the second half. Coach Taggart said, he says we see that every day at practice, when the safety comes up and stuffs that play in practice, and for some reason, again, go back to the Monday night bright lights, we did not execute defensively. That play is, it was a bread and butter play for Virginia Tech, but defensively, that play should be stopped for little or no gain every time.
Gene, tell me real quick here, because coming up, your former coach Jimbo Fisher's got a really big game against Clemson this weekend. And
does.
I just
I wrote him a
looking.
note and said, "Good luck, coach."
He's going to need it.
Not specifically that game, but just good luck this season, Joe.
In
You
general.
know, I feel for last year, if I'm a Knowles fan, I look at last year compared to this year, I feel Jimbo Fisher dialed out long before he said that he was leaving for Texas and A&M. Do you get that feeling? Is that part of what happened last year?
Well, when I recorded his pregame show on Wednesday afternoon, I left there saying, I think he's staying. In fact, my son came by the house that afternoon, said, "Dad, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, I think he's staying." And he called me about 15 minutes later and said, "Dad, it's on the radio. He's leaving for Texas A&M." I said,
Wow.
my goodness. I probably should have known he had some chewing tobacco in the spit cup on the table we set up that recording thing. And I said, if he'd have had a cowboy hat on, I'd have believed he was going. But, I should have said, you know what, that's the first time I've ever seen a dadgum spit cup on coach's desk in my life.
That should have been your hint, I guess.
I should have known.
He's getting all ready. Gene Deckerhoff, thank you so much. I think for all the Seminoles fans here in South Florida, you paint a positive picture. And yeah, as a Buckeye fan, I know what that early Virginia Tech loss means, and it's no reason to close up on this season. You got a lot more big games. You got the Canes coming up. You can go on ahead and meet Clemson.
October the 6th.
Got a lot to play for. Yeah, you got a Canes guy in the studio with us right now.
I'll be there, Gene. I'll see you at the game.
November the 28th, we got those Florida Gators here too. We got those big circles.
You got chances to rebound, no doubt.
Appreciate you guys spreading the word of Seminole football down there.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on, Gene. We appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right. Coming up here in just a couple minutes, going to take a quick little look, see what is going on with the NFL, which is going to be kicking off tonight. First game, Dolphins get their first taste on Sunday, and they've ranked out the best offenses and defenses. The worst, the best. Where do the Dolphins fit on that list? Might paint a picture for the season. We'll get to that next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Every NFL fan is excited this time of year because your team has got a shot.
That's right. Even the Dolphins.
Even the Dolphins. Well, I mean, you look at the Eagles a couple years ago. God-awful team. And what did they do last year? I mean, that's the hope and the faith. You look at a franchise like that saying, okay, hey, if the Eagles can do it, so can my team.
Amen.
They might be the next Eagles, so you don't know what's going to happen. Now, part of this is just looking to see what you've got, because you do have to have the players to make the plays. And if you don't, chances are you're not going to win. So USA Today has kind of broken down the NFL's best and worst offense and defenses out there.
Uh-oh.
So if you look at this, if you've got a team that's, top 12, chance of making the playoffs, offense and defense, that's about where you want to be. Now, they look at the best and the worst. Start off with the offense.
Okay.
They say the Saints are going to have the best offense this year, according to USA Today.
Yeah, they're going to be up there. I don't know about the best, but I guess that's what
Good
this
receiving
list is for.
core, solid quarterback play.
I think the Vikings are going to be right there, too.
I think so, too.
Hell, the Rams could be right there.
Yeah. They do not have the Vikings in the top 6. They've got
Really?
the Saints, Patriots, still they're holding in there.
Oh, no.
I agree. I think that might be a little high on them. Steelers at number 3, and obviously they got a big question mark with Le'Veon Bell. What's that going to mean for that offense? The Rams that you mentioned, they got at 4.
Okay.
The world champs, the Eagles at 5, Falcons at 6.
Falcons, yeah.
Okay.
I see where they went wrong there. The Vikings should be where the Patriots are. I understand you got Tom Brady as your quarterback, and Gronkowski's still there, and Edelman's coming back after 4 games, but they don't have anybody else. Like, what if Gronk gets hurt like he always does?
Yeah.
Who is he throwing to?
Yeah.
No. Patriots are not in the top 6. I'm sorry.
But I think what they look at is every year it seems like we always wait for the demise that this is the year that the wheels come off the Patriots bus, and then somehow they just still wind up okay. I don't know. They're great again.
I won't say that they're going to be terrible. I just don't see them in top 6 offense. That's all.
USA Today says the worst offenses, the absolute worst, they say, is the Broncos.
I can see that. All right, so the Dolphins are number 1.
They're not the worst.
Or number 32. I guess however you want to look at it.
Yeah. They have got the Bills.
Yeah.
Colts bad.
Really?
I don't know, though. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, if Luck's back and he's good, why?
Yeah, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's there. I know he has some questions at running back, but I don't know.
Jets, Ravens at the bottom. That's who USA Today is saying.
Hey,
Some of
the
worst
Dolphins
offenses.
aren't in the bottom 5. Woo!
They're not. but they're not great.
Ah,
They've got them at number 23.
okay.
You know, you've got some possible questions. What's going on with Parker, receiver? You know, Dan Amendola is going to be coming in. Hopefully he's good. Albert Wilson, you feel good about it. You hope it's going to, turn into something. Kenyon Drake, Frank Gore, going to be good. New tight end, rookies, got potential.
Yeah.
And you got Tannehill back.
Yes.
And, you know, the one number that I saw, which I thought really was telling, if Tannehill is, I think, a figment of what he was in 2016, the offense has to be much improved, right?
Yeah.
Has to be.
I'm glad you said that, man, because so many people, they forget. Like, listen, and I'll be the first one to say I was down on Tannehill a couple years ago, and he finally started to make it into his own and led them to a playoff run before he got injured against Arizona late in the season. But realize what I said there. He led them to a playoff run. They were one of 6 teams in the AFC to make the playoffs. So, I mean, it's not like dude was terrible, and that was his first year in Gase's offense.
Yeah.
Why can't they be good?
What I think was so damaging, too, was just the amount of turnovers they had. The Dolphins ranked 31st in the league at minus 14 in 2017. When they ranked 13th, they were in their playoff season of 2016. And when you get Tannehill back, you're talking about a lot less interceptions. In 2016, he threw 11. Jay Cutler last year had double that amount at 22.
Oh, I almost cursed. You said Jay Cutler's name. I had to stop myself from cursing.
But it's a
on the
big,
air right
I
now.
mean, that's a big deal.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It is a very, very big deal.
That's a glaring difference.
And when you're talking about offense, I mean, hey, you need it. They say about 24 points a game is kind of a good precursor to whether or not you're going to be a playoff team.
Good gosh, I wish.
24 points. They say if you hit that number, it will increase your odds of making the playoffs a good bit.
Okay, I'm down with that.
But unfortunately, the Dolphins have only scored this many points just once in the past decade, and that was in 2014.
Well, it's all starting to come together a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
When you
but
start-
it gives you a crystal clear picture of things to be positive about with getting Tannehill back, turnover margin, and it gives you something to look at saying, okay, 24 points. That's what we need to score if we want to make the playoffs. If the Dolphins can average that, they're making the playoffs.
And guess who was the quarterback in 2014? Ryan Tannehill.
There you go.
So he was there when they did it
Optimism.
in one game.
Optimism.
Yes, but they still did it. At 20, I guess 23 said they're ranked 23rd. I guess that's fair. I mean, can you really argue to put them any high? What? I'm going to argue, say they should be number 18. I mean, 23 is fair at this point. Wait and see what they can do. Is Kenyon Drake for real? Were those last 5 games an aberration because other guys were sitting? Those are the questions, that we have to get answered. Tannehill, how does he come back? So I'm fine with it. I'm
Okay.
fine.
So that's kind of breaking down the offense. And you
Yeah.
hope that they're underrating the Dolphins' offense.
Which I think they are.
It's
I
very
think they are.
possible. Now, where do the Dolphins sit according to USA Today when it comes to the best and the worst defense?
Oh.
The best defenses, they say, are the Vikings,
Sure.
Eagles, Jaguars, Ravens, and Bengals. That's their top 5.
Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot the Bengals actually had a pretty good defense.
They do, and they got a couple young pieces, a couple rookies I know they're excited about.
They're just so horrible, though. Like, you think the Bengals,
I
you
know.
think they're just so bad. And how does Marvin Lewis still have a job, by the way?
He just does enough.
I don't understand.
It seems like Cincy is okay with mediocrity. They're
I
like,
guess.
we're Cincinnati. You know?
Yeah.
We realize we're not that hot.
I mean, how long are seriously, how long are the Bengals going to ride with Marvin Lewis and Andy Dalton? Like, how long are they going to do this for? How much longer?
Yeah, you got to wonder.
Right? But yeah, that is surprising. 5. Okay. I forgot they had a decent defense.
Worst defenses, according to USA Today, Colts,
Wow.
Raiders, Giants, Chiefs, and Bucks.
Okay, so the Dolphins avoided the bottom 5 on both sides of the ball.
They did, but they
Okay.
are just swimming in mediocrity in both categories. They got them at 27th for defense.
Oh, no.
27th for defense. And, I think the glaring weakness is right up the middle.
Yeah.
Sue's gone. What do they got going on there? You got to see the pass. The edge rushers are great. You love your defensive ends. They're fantastic up the middle. You've got some suspect linebacker play. Raekwon McMillan's got to be better. You got a rookie in Jerome Baker back there. Kiko Alonso, they say, is a liability in coverage.
And on the sideline, if you can find the right one. Poor guy.
Minka Fitzpatrick, who knows how or where he's going to fit into this whole thing. Robert Quinn, they say, is one of those big question marks. William Hayes has got to be good, and Charles Harris, you got to see him build on what he did in year one.
That's a lot of question marks. I think you
It
just
is.
named 11 question marks.
That's why you got him at 27th.
All right.
So, that's where they rank the Dolphins.
Are the Buccaneers that bad too?
I did not
Right?
think they were that bad.
Weird.
But maybe that's why, one pickup they had, they picked up that Carl Nassib. Did you see him? They grabbed
Yes.
him from Hard Knocks.
That's right. I think he's going to be a good player. I was actually surprised the Browns cut him on that last episode.
I think it was just a matter of personnel. I think they just, they even said in the special they had to create a roster spot, and that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But for the Dolphins, I guess what we learned here is they are pretty much ranked to be mediocre at the end of the season.
They do, but there's just that big question mark, which, like I said, with every franchise, it's not necessarily they don't have the personnel. You don't know how the personnel is going to perform. Some franchises are going in right now saying, we suck at these positions. I mean, we know we're going to be a disaster.
Right.
I think, honestly, the run defense is very scary for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
If they're not getting gashed like crazy, then we'll see.
But I will say this. I'm going to say this right now, okay? On what is today? Thursday. 2 days or 3 days before opening day, Sunday, against the Titans, as the season begins, the Dolphins, I am proclaiming, will sneak into the wild card this season. They will be the 6th seed in the AFC with 10 wins.
Okay.
Okay?
Very nice.
They're going to make it to the playoffs, and they're going to surprise a lot of teams, and which includes this Sunday against the Titans.
Diener has spoken.
That's right.
Coming up here in a couple minutes, breaking news, a South Florida and Palm Beach County icon is dead. We will let you know who coming up next.
You can tell his wife. Just don't tell those other guys. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Very sad to say that a South Florida and Palm Beach County, and you could even say sports icon, is dead today.
I don't even know who this is.
Burt Reynolds has
Really?
passed away
Wow.
at his home in Jupiter.
Oh, wow.
Very sad news for a guy that, has got a little tie into the sports world, being a guy that is a big Florida State fan.
Sure.
Playing with the Seminoles.
He played with Lee Corso, I think. They were on the same team.
I think so. I think looking way back in the day, and just somebody that you still continually saw out and about in South Florida. He's a Palm Beach County guy. He's lived in Jupiter forever, but I mean, he's started off in Riviera Beach. Jaybird, who I do the KVJ show with, they went to the same elementary school. He went to Palm Beach High. He is all Palm Beach County.
Yeah, there's a lot of different parks named after him when you go up to that Jupiter area. There's Burt Reynolds Park, and
Yeah.
wow, that's sad. I had no idea.
Yeah, it just happened today. It's some breaking news, and I mean, my gosh, what an amazing acting icon as well. On top of it, when you just look at the movies he was in, I don't know if you've ever, and if anybody hasn't, works Smokey and the Bandit into you've got to watch that. It is a fantastic movie. He was the man. Burt Reynolds was the freaking man, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he really was. I mean, before my time, but I mean, I've seen the iconic photo of him with that big old hairy chest, man. He was so 70s, like just 70s porn star kind of guy, man. Had that rock and just hairy chest, was like laying on that bearskin rug, and the chicks wanted. He was the epitome of sex of the 70s.
Yeah.
Mustache. That was it, man.
He had the great hair.
Maybe the best mustache of all time.
He's on the Mount Rushmore
all
of
time.
mustaches, right?
Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck, toss-up. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you want to talk about I'm the man mustache. Burt Reynolds, dude. Burt Reynolds.
82 years old.
Gosh, Cannonball Run. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. The Longest Yard, the original.
That's right, yeah. That's true. I
Boogie
forgot about
Nights that he did in 97.
that. Classic.
I mean, just wow, just one thing after another. And it's just kind of crazy just to see what's going on in the history of this guy. Burt Reynolds, looking back, he came from Lake Park where Jaybird did. And it says here, I'm just kind of looking through, the history of him. Watson B. Duncan, who Duncan Middle School is named after, is the one that pushed Burt Reynolds into trying out for a play that he's producing Outward Bound.
That's funny.
Duncan Middle School, that guy got Burt Reynolds into acting.
Wow, that's funny.
And then it so began.
I think you're going to have, speaking of, being named after things, there's going to be a lot of different establishments or schools or theaters that will have Burt Reynolds' name on. I know, like I said, there's already a few down here because he was ours. He's a Palm Beach County guy.
Without a doubt.
So I think you're going to see that name, maybe even some streets, up in Jupiter.
Yeah.
So man, that is sad. That's very big news, not only nationally, but like we said, especially down here. It's very big news.
He is. I mean, if you had to do the Mount Rushmore of Palm Beach County greats, I think you probably start that list with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, he's on there.
He's on there, and he probably is number one.
Yeah. He's like the George Washington of that.
He is.
Yeah.
No, he really is. I
Yeah.
mean, when you talk about Palm Beach County, at least celebrities, South Florida, you open it up. Yeah, you got a lot more choosing. But if you're talking about Palm Beach County, iconic celebrities, Burt Reynolds is number one on that list. Man, sad to see. Passed away today. How old was he?
The age of 82.
82.
Reynolds.
Gosh. All right. Well, the Miami Heat have added another piece, or at least locked down the piece. It's not really going to mean a lot. It's going to be more about how the team is run, what happens there on the bench, because he's going to be there a lot with you. Udonis Haslem, going to be coming back for a 16 straight season. Just signed a one-year deal, $2.4 million with the Miami Heat.
Yay.
Second on the all-time active list for seasons with one franchise, only trailing Dirk Nowitzki, who's heading into his 21st season now at the Dallas Mavericks.
That was so hard to believe. I saw that earlier, and I thought back. I'm like, wait a second. So I was 11 years old when Dirk Nowitzki started playing with the Mavericks?
It's crazy, right?
It's wild.
Yeah.
How's it even possible? Jeez.
Haslem only appeared in 14 games last year.
Yeah.
Averaged 5.1 minutes, which were lows pretty much in every single category. So, I mean, you're not getting him for what he's going to do on the court. I assume you're getting him because he's, in a sense, almost like a mascot that's getting paid $2.4 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a bench coach, right?
Pretty much.
A very highly paid bench coach.
Yes, exactly. No, it's true. I mean, he's another coach. He's another guy. He's a locker room coach. I guess you could even refer to him as, because he's the guy who's going to keep that locker room together. He's that veteran presence. He's the guy that they all look to. You want to ignore somebody else, fine, but no one is going to ignore Udonis Haslem. If that man speaks, everyone is listening, and they're going to take what he's saying to heart. Mm-hmm. And that's, hey, look, I'm very happy to see this because he deserves another season with the Heat. 16 years. Sign him to the veteran minimum, and it also might mean that Wade is coming back now.
It's like the right shoe, left shoe.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect, when we come back here next week, we're going to be talking about D. Wade's going to sign.
I hope so.
And I wonder if you're Pat Riley, are you signing Udonis Haslem and making this announcement conveniently right now because you're like, all right, we got to start moving on to this because we got training camp coming up.
It's coming really quick.
I mean, it's really quick. And we just don't want any kind of, uncertainty. We want to know who's going to be here and who's not. Mm-hmm. So let's go on ahead. UD said he'll be back. He's the easier one to sign. We sign him first. D. Wade sees that. D. Wade, I mean, come on. Is he honestly going to walk away from Udonis Haslem right now and be like going, bro, I don't think I'm going to do it?
I can't see it. I mean,
no, there's no. Right now, I would put it D. Wade at about a 10% chance he does not sign with the Heat for this next year.
I would be shocked if he doesn't sign this year. Now, he has left UD before. But that was different circumstances.
Definitely different circumstances. Yeah. I mean, I think, right now he's definitely laid it out. D. Wade, if he's coming back, if he's playing with anybody, he's only playing with the Heat. He said that.
Right.
So that is the only question. So it's like, when am I going to play? If Udonis Haslem doesn't sign, now I think you can flip it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good chance D. Wade's like, I would just feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of new faces on there. Do I want to go it alone? Nah. I want the dude that I've ridden out many a season with.
Right.
So if you're Pat Riley, you sign Udonis Haslem, you got him in, it's like, all right, this is happening, right? There has got to be a 90% chance now that D. Wade's going to lock it in, and probably within the next week.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, hopefully within the next week, but I do think Wade is going to come back. I saw Tim Reynolds from the AP put this out on Twitter earlier, and this one really kind of made my eyes open a little bit. 15 seasons in Miami Heat franchise without Udonis Haslem, 16 with.
Gosh,
He's been there more than half of their existence. It's incredible.
Is he one of the top 5 greatest Heat of all time?
Oh, yeah.
According to his meaning for the franchise.
Absolutely.
You're going to be able to pick people out. They're going to be able to score more than him.
I mean, it's Wade. Obviously, LeBron is in there. He wasn't here. He was only here 4 years. Alonzo Mourning. That's 3. Bosh is teetering on top 5. Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway's in there, though.
Oh, Tim Hardaway's got to go in there,
Where
right?
do you-
Before Udonis?
Yeah. And then I would say Udonis. I don't put Shaq in there because it wasn't here long enough.
Okay. So
So-
Udonis just makes top 5 greatest Heat or most important Heat. You're not going to make him, I don't think, on numbers.
Right.
I mean, his career numbers are not, absolutely amazing. Udonis Haslem, he averaged 7.7 points a game, along with 6.8 rebounds.
Yeah, look, he's not going to the Hall of Fame, but he is going to have his number retired in the Raptors one day, right next
For the
to
Heat,
Wade. And,
yeah.
Yes,
For the Heat, without a doubt.
absolutely.
And you would put him in the top 5.
I think so.
Most important Miami Heat players in
Yes.
franchise history. Okay. All right.
He's
there
up
you
there
go.
for me.
Well, he's locked in. Just wait now, see what happens.
Come on, Wade, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Wade.
Hey, yesterday we gave you some bad information, but we give you a lot of bad information every day.
That's a good point, especially from me.
But, I said, hey, you can sound off because I had UCF fans were all over me because I was ignoring the Golden Knights a little too much. So I said, hey, if you got a bitch, you got something you want to say, or if you want to get the conversation going, you can leave us a message. We'll throw you right into the broadcast, man. It's a 561 number, and I gave you the wrong number. Well, they gave me the wrong number that I gave you.
To be fair, it's not your fault. I would blame you if it was your fault, but it's not.
Here's the number. It's a 616-4622.
Yes.
561 number, 616-4622. So if you got a topic, something you want to bring up, comment from what you heard, you let us know.
And I'm going to listen to them. Like I said yesterday, now that we have the right number for you, I will be listening to all of these. And if it's great, we're going to put you on. Mm-hmm. And by all means, feel free to make fun of me because I'll probably put that on as well.
That's
and
right.
It's very fair, by the way, if you go on and make fun of me.
Give prizes to the best Diener jokes.
Those will all make air.
Mm-hmm. You can check this show out on YouTube. Just look for Kevin's Other Show. You can also download the podcast. It's going to be there for you every single day, catching you up with all the great stuff happening in South Florida sports. And you can follow us on Twitter at Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach, a world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.